Hello everyone, so here on YouTube I like to change topics every once in a while, at least every month I change video topics. And I guess this month's video I want to talk about kind of focus on family history. And I don't think I really talk about my ancestors, etc. Um, here on YouTube, so I don't think I've made this video, but I was talking to someone maybe a couple of months ago here on YouTube, a subscriber, or it might have been on 23andMe, I'm not really sure, because I use both messaging apps, both apps. I mean both to message people. One relatives. I guess my relatives. I message them back and forth. The ones I find on there and on YouTube, a lot of people message me with 23andMe questions or whatever. They just um. So, anyways, we were talking about family like with their family work and what type of work, let's say what type of jobs did they have, what type of work did they do, what type of because we're talking about the census. Now I remember this was many months ago, I think. Maybe we were talking about the census. We're telling I was saying my census, my family census, and they were telling me their family census. Give me a moment, sorry about that, but we were talking about the census, and they were telling me like um because remember it not that long ago, like the 50s, like 1950, 1960s, 1940s, 1900, I don't know how to, 1900s. There wasn't really any type of job where you would consider it like, you know, technician, like computer technician. There's job titles and jobs change all the times, and what kind of jobs were there back then. And honestly, I don't really know a lot of people's history. So, so yeah, I was telling this person, oh well, from my perspective, a lot of people were farmers. All my family, all of my relatives are farmers. You know, so I was like, and then this person was telling me that their family member worked in the city, and I think they said building shoes or something with shoes. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. That's different. This was maybe like back then, like in 1960s or 70s or maybe 40s. I'm not really sure. And they told me that, and I was like, oh, that's interesting because I don't know. It's just interesting. And, and yeah, so I guess that's my question to the people on YouTube, my subscribers, and everyone else who comments, who watches the video. Comment down below your history, family history, if you like I guess jobs or how they live for living. How did they live for living? And I think that's an interesting topic. And I guess a lot of people watch my videos from 23andMe ancestry videos, like related. So I guess I might get a lot of diverse comments, because the whole world is kind of like different. Everybody experiences different things, and I don't know. I want to hear everyone's story. Like, oh, my grandpa was this, my grandma was this, and yeah, there's a lot of things we don't take into account because we don't. You know what I mean? For my family history, all my two grand. Okay, how many grandpas do I have? I have one on my mom's side and I have one on my dad's side. I have a grandma on my okay, two grandpas, right? My two grandparents are farmers. Well, some are dead already, but one's dead. But the other, he's my grandpa is 91 years old or 90 years old, and he still farms to this day. He still farms on his own. Um, so my grandpa still, he still farms. He grows I think corn. I'm not really sure what he grows. I took a picture of him. But yeah, he grows corn every. I don't even know. I don't know how farming works. All I know is that my grandpa is a farmer, and my other grandpa was a farmer. Uh, my mom's and dad's families. my dad, like my mom's brother, my dad's brother, they're farmers. I know that back then they used to farm. They farm. How do you say this? Um, so yeah, the way they did it is they trade it. They trade. They farm and they trade, and they farm to live off the land. But like there's also a lot of details that go into it. For example, how do you own your own land, etc. Where there's cases where it's like, oh, you rent a land, because back then sometimes you couldn't own because based on race, etc. Based on the government, based on how they treated you, on your race, you know, you couldn't own land, especially if you were like mixed, Indian, black. So it all depends, especially where around. So I'm not really sure how that works towards my grandparents, but I know that they migrated a lot. On my mom's side, they used to move from town to town a lot. I don't know. On the census, I found a couple of cities. I mean, a couple of towns, and I don't understand that. I'm like, why would you move that much? It's very complicated. Everything, you can't really explain one thing in one thing with one thing. You know what I mean? You can't because you just can't. You know what I mean? You can't say, oh, my grandparents were farmers. There is way more into that than there that is. Like I could say, I could say my grandparents were farmers, but what does that mean? It's like, what else? You know what I mean? What led them to be only farmers? You know what I mean? And if you think about it, well, that's basically like that's basically it. That's basically life. You know what I mean? Um, that's what it was back then. Farming. You live off the land and you migrate and you move on. You live off the land, you migrate, and you find the next river or the next water place, and you move on. You migrate and migrate and migrate and migrate. You go all over, and yeah. So that's it. That's all. That's all I gotta say. And I don't know what else can I say about my family. I don't know. It's like, okay, farming. I don't even know anything about farming. Uh, my uncle he works in farming, but I don't know what he does. I think he drives a truck and runs it down the crops. But back then they didn't even have machines. Like because my grandpa was born like in 1930. Back then they didn't really have a lot of things, and especially they might have, but come on, how many people could afford those machines? So that you have to think about many thoughts into many thoughts. You can't just say this and that. So back then, especially my family, none of them had any tools. All they did is hand by hand. I know, for example, women didn't farm, so I don't really know how that works. Um, I don't understand why men farm and not women. To be honest, I don't know how that works. Um, especially back then, I don't understand. I don't understand the whole male and female role back then. I just, what did the woman do all day? I don't know. Honestly, I don't really know. Um, I don't really know. I can't really say everything. I can't really speak for everyone. Because I really don't know. So yeah, I mean, I will try to find more questions and make more videos about family history. So yeah, this is today's video, family history, farming. Um, I was gonna tell my grandpa to teach me farming, teach me how to farm at least one thing, but I don't know, I just didn't. So I never knew how to farm. Uh, I'm the only one that doesn't know how to farm in the family. My mom, I don't even know if my mom knows how to farm. I don't think females are allowed to farm, or they just it's something you don't do. I don't understand. But all I know is that I don't think my mom knows how to farm. I don't think. Well, I don't know how to farm. Um, I don't know if my dad knows how to farm. I don't. I think he should, but like he left his family when he was 13 years old, and never saw them again. So I'm not really sure if he knows farming. I know that his his brothers know how to farm. I know that my dad's brothers they know how to farm. So yeah, that's it.